sky is wrong. That's the first thought that cuts through the war drums. Even with blood in my ears and smoke in my lungs, I know it. The sun should be higher, brighter, angry, instead. It hangs there like a dying coal, half-dash eaten, like something up there has taken a bite. Men are screaming around me, not dying worse, praying. A jaguar captain drops his spear and falls to his knees. A priest vomits copal smoke and sobs into his hands. Across the field, our enemies stop mid-charge, staring up like idiots who just realized the gods can see their browser history in me. I'm counting them. 2, 3. Because if my math is wrong, we all die. If my math is right, I just turn the sun off. People think astronomers live peaceful lives, old men. Quiet temples. Counting stars, cute. Try telling that to the army waiting behind you for the sky to obey your spreadsheet. Back then, they didn't call me astronomer. Called me Keyneson reader. Daykeeper. The guy who ruins festivals by saying, actually, the calendar says this is unlucky. I grew up in a temple school in Yaxmutel, long before I ever saw a battlefield, before I ever lied to a king, before I ever weaponized the heavens. My childhood smelled like limestone dust and sweat. Other boys learned to throw spears. I learned to sharpen obsidian knives and copied numbers until my fingers cramped. They said I was lucky, chosen for the stars, the priests told my mother. Which is priests speak for? Congratulations. Your son now belongs to us forever. Temple school wasn't spiritual. It was accounting with incense. We memorized dates the way merchants memorize debts. Long count Tizo can. Hob.
Your Majesty,
3
the
calendars
celestial
at once,
charts are prepared.
because apparently one wasn't confusing enough. While warriors practiced killing, we practiced not blinking while staring at the sun's reflection in water bowls. If you blinked, you got smacked. If you miscounted Venus, you got smacked. If you breathed too loud during prayers, also smacked. Honestly, the gods felt less strict than the teachers. But at night, that's when it made sense. We climbed the observatory tower barefoot. Stones still warm from the day above us, the sky spilled open, not random. Never random, perfect. Lines, patterns, cycles, Venus, rising exactly where it should, the moon fattening and starving on. Scheduled everything moving like gears in a clock no one admitted existed. That's when I first felt it. Not faith, control. If the sky followed rules, then the gods followed math. And if the gods followed math, well, that's a loophole. By 16, I could predict Venus better than my teacher. By 20, I was carving eclipse tables into bark paper. By kings started visiting me. Nothing makes a ruler nervous like a man who claims to know tomorrow. They'd arrive dripping jade, smelling like cocoa and ego. So, Starboy 1 asked, will this be a good year for war? I'd check my cons, flip through pages, pretend to think, then say something vague like, the gods favor bold action, but punish arrogance. Works every time. It's the ancient version of a horoscope. War happens. I told you to be bold. You lose. You were arrogant. Still employed. But secretly, I kept calculating something bigger, something rare. A pattern my teacher said wasn't worth tracking. Too complicated, too long. Leave eclipses to the gods, he said, which is priest code for, we don't understand it, and it scares us. That made me very interested. For years I tracked them. Every shadow, every partial bite of the sun, marks on walls. Notes in bark books. Sleepless nights. My friends married, had children, got fat. I got better at predicting when the sky would panic an entire civilization. Great trade-off. Very healthy. Lifestyle then. One night, while aligning the numbers, it hit me. Not metaphorically. Literally. I smacked my head on the stone because
1, 2, 3,
I stood
4,
up too
5,
fast.
6.
There it was. A future. Date, clean, dot, perfect. Eclipse so total, it would turn day into midnight. Not what happened. Now, if the gods feel dramatic, certain too, the heartbeat, and it fell on the exact day our king planned to march. Against our rivals, I stared at the numbers for hours, because suddenly, this wasn't astronomy. Anymore, this was strategy. If the sun died mid-battle, whoever controlled that moment controlled fear itself. I realized something that probably should have terrified me. I wasn't reading the will of the gods. I was scheduling it, and kings kill men who can schedule it. Gods. So I had two choices. Keep quiet and let thousands die randomly. Or tell the king I could black out the sun on command, which, historically, is not a safe sentence to say out loud. I closed my codex, looked up at the stars, and laughed. Because after 20 years of staring at the heavens, I finally found something useful. A way to win a war without throwing a single spear. All I had to do was convince a paranoid king that I could eat the sun and survive long. Enough to prove it, the drums on the battlefield grow. Louder. The light grows thinner. My counting reaches 10. The sky darkens like a bruise, and every man waits to see if I'm a genius, or the idiot who just angered the universe. 11:12. The light thins like old cloth. You'd think the end of the world would be louder? It isn't it. Quiet. Birds stop first. Then, the insects, even the war drums, stumble out of rhythm. Like the drummers forgot how hands work, I can hear my own breathing. Fast, ugly, very unpriestly across the field. Our enemies freeze mid-charge. One guy still has his spear raised like he's posing for a mural. Poor man. History will remember him as confused silhouette number 3. 13. Bite appears on the sun, clean, mathematical. Exactly. Where my tablet said it would be, my stomach drops. Anyway, because knowing something is coming doesn't make it less terrifying. Ask anyone who's seen their exam results. The crescent shrinks shadows. Sharpen, the air turns cold. Men start crying. Not dying. Huge warriors with jaguar pelts and skull trophies. Sobbing like children who lost their mother in the market. Ah, Cain. The captain shouts at me. What is happening? I want to say basic orbital mechanics. Instead, I raise my arms and yell, the gods devour the sun for our enemies. Branding matters, then dash totality. Day snaps. Off dot not fades dot off. Like someone covered the world with a clay bowl dot stars. Pier at noon. You ever see grown soldiers meet the night sky in the middle of battle? It breaks them. Our enemies scream first. Some throw themselves flat. Others drop weapons and run. One priest starts sacrificing himself, which honestly saves us the trouble. My king turns to me, eyes wide. Not with faith, with fear. Good fear means he believes now. He whispers. I nod. Now,
Get back!
the drums
Retreat!
explode back to life. Our warriors charge downhill out of the darkness like demons do. We're chosen to the enemy. We're monsters who stole the sun. Psychology beats spears every time. By the time the light returns, it's
Guard!
over. Bodies everywhere. Smoke, victory, and me. I'm just standing there with a wax tablet, checking my numbers like an accountant after the apocalypse. Perfect alignment. Perfect. Timing, the king claps my shoulder like I'm some kind of prophet. But I know the truth. No God. Listened, no miracle happened. Just math. Cold, boring, beautiful. Math, turns out you don't need divine favor to win. War. You just need to know when the lights go out. That's the funny. Part warriors get statues, kings get temples, and I go back to my tower that night. Alone. Scratching new marks into bark. Paper, because the moon doesn't care who won. Venus doesn't care who died. The sky keeps moving. On schedule. Always on schedule. And, somewhere out there, another eclipse is already coming. Waiting for another fool like me to weaponize the heavens.